Hey, brand builder, Rory Vaden here. Thank you so much for tuning in to listen to this interview. We are so excited to bring you this information and wanted to let you know that, hey, there's no sales pitch coming from anything that we do. This is all our value add to you and the community. However, if you are somebody who is looking for specific strategies on how to build and monetize your personal brand, we would love to talk to you. And we offer a free call to everyone that's interested in getting to know us and is willing to give us a chance to get to know them and share a little bit about what we do. So if you're interested in taking us up on a free strategy call, you can do that at brandbuildersgroup.com/summit call. brandbuildersgroup.com/summit call. Hope to talk to you soon. On with the show.
Writing and getting books published and written and distributed and marketed properly is one of the biggest pain points that so many of you have. We know that. And over the years, I've had an opportunity to interface with a number of different people who have different, magical superpowers in the book writing and publishing space. And today I'm going to introduce you to one of my favorites. She's a longtime friend of mine. Her name is Honorée Corder. And Honorée, first of all, she is worked very closely with one of my dear friends, two of my dear friends, Hal Elrod, which many of you probably know. She helped Hal turn The Miracle Morning into a whole book series. Honorée has written more than 50 books. And not just with Hal, but lots of people. Phil Hellmuth, who is the World Series of Poker champion. Also, one of our other dear friends, John Ruhlin, and his book Giftology, who we just absolutely adore. John, we've had him, of course, on the show. And she just works as a strategic book coach to writers, and also, I would say, a publishing specialist, specifically for people who want to self-publish and maintain all the ownership and the control and the rights, but to do it in a way that it looks and acts and feels and operates like a traditionally published book. So anyway, she just recently moved to Nashville. Well, not that recently, but a little bit recently, and we reconnected and had to bring her to you. You're going to love her. Honorée, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be with you.
All right, my friend. So I want to start with the question of the writing process. Okay. So you've written 50 books, you've coached people through this, you're teaching lots of people on the writing process. I feel like people get stuck at the blank page. Like, they go, I want to write a book. I know I got a book in me. I probably got 5 books in me, but then they sit down and it's like, it doesn't come, or doesn't come.
What's on Netflix?
Yeah.
What's on Netflix? I'll do it later.
So what do you think's going on there? What do we need to know about that stage and that moment? And how do we kind of get ourselves past there?
That's a great question. Thank you. And there's a lot to unpack there. I think what people get stuck on is what goes in a book. Why am I the person to write a book? Other people have already written a book, like the book I'm thinking of writing. Why should I write a book?
Yeah.
And then how am I going to write it? How am I going to know it's any good? And then once I'm done with it, what the heck do I do with it? Who's going to read it? What if nobody buys it? Right? So there's a lot of static and a lot of head noise going on, and without a process to follow and without some clarity, they will stand to get stuck even if they get past that blank page.
Yeah. So let's talk about the mental part of it then first, because I do think that is that sort of self-limiting belief of, one, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, or more of the imposter syndrome, which is like, well, someone already wrote that book. I already read that book. I mean, do you find that that's a pretty big part of this? And how do we get ourselves beyond that moment?
Sure. So yes, someone has probably written a book about what you have knowledge and expertise around, semicolon, however, comma, right? there is no book written in your words from your perspective with your additional experience. And you are the messenger that only some people can hear. And I love to use the example of like Brene Brown versus Tony Robbins. In the motivational space, for the people, lots of people stand at the stage and watch Tony Robbins and think that he's the best thing ever. And other people think he's too big. His teeth are too big, right? It's too much for me. And other people think Brene Brown is just the most wonderful thing in the world. And other people think she's too quiet and she's not commanding enough. Their messages are not the same. They're similar. And you could say, well, it's motivational. I've been motivated. I'm done. That's it. And yet there is that other option, which is what you bring to the table, your experience, your expertise, your knowledge, and your words, your approach, your philosophy, how you connect with people. And that is not in a book if you haven't written it. So I like to get people past that. Well, who am I to write a book? I'm not experienced enough, or who cares? Or there's already a book out there, contextualizing them and saying, hold on, you have something to offer. You must write a book, right? And then helping them to figure out what goes in the book and where and why, and getting started on that process. Because, and let's go to all the way to the end, and you've been there and I've been there, you get that book for the first time and hold it in your hands and you're an author. It's kind of the coolest thing ever. It's worth all of the trouble.
Yeah. Well, and you get the first comment from a reader or Amazon review. They're like, that's, it's so powerful. And I do use myself as an example on this, because I go, look, Take the Stairs more or less is a book that about hard work. There's not many more unoriginal topics or messages than hard work. And as a 20-something-year-old kid, when I wrote the book, I was like, I felt like, well, what am I saying that's different? But it was totally from my lens. And I think the beauty of me being so young was I knew nothing else other than to write it from my lens. And I wasn't old enough to have as much self-doubt, I think, as sometimes people get in their 30s. And it's bringing you to the table, contextualizing you. No one else can do that.
Right. No one else has your voice, your perspective, and all of the other things that make you you. No one else can write your book. And so I think you owe it to people. I'm just going to throw it out there. You owe it to people to write your book. And I read Take the Stairs, and I sent you a screenshot of all the tabs and notes and highlights of reading the book. And I had read every other book on hard work. Yeah, hard work is not a new philosophy, but your perspective and that phrase, oh, I'll take the stairs. I'll do the harder thing. I can do hard things. I do this hard thing, and it builds that muscle and builds on top of that. Some of that book has never left me. It stayed with me. So if you hadn't been that 20-something-year-old kid going, all right, I'm going to write a book, and you did it, then all the people who benefited from it would have missed out. And so now I'm not talking to you, right? I'm talking to your audience and the people that are listening and are thinking, well, but what would I say that would be any different? It's not necessarily that you would say something different. It's that you would say something different, that you would say it in your way. And the person who would have said, why am I going to take the stairs? Why would you take the stairs when you would take an elevator? Right? Might hear another message, your message, in a way that actually moves them and transforms their life. And you're right. Then the thing that is even better than receiving that first book is receiving that first letter in the mail, or that first email where someone says, I read your book and it changed my life. It inspired me. I am behaving differently. I'm doing something differently. I'm believing more in myself. There are very few things that are more fulfilling than that.
Yeah, that is incredible. And I think another part of the fear, like, just since we're talking about the emotional side of this, I do think there is this fear of like, well, I could pour my life into this thing and nobody's going to read it, right? Or no one's going to buy it. And then it's almost like I have this public declaration that I've put out there that I want something to be successful. And if it's not successful, then somehow it's like this public reflection that, my book wasn't good enough or something like that. And,
Sure.
and ironically, I think it when a book doesn't sell well, it is less often to do with what is written in the book and more to do with the promotional plan. And I want, I know that that's a part that you really kind of specialize in, is going, okay, what are the things? So let's say if we get past the self-doubt, we're operating in what we would call our uniqueness. We help people find their uniqueness. They create a great outline. They work with you or somebody like you that helps them really like flush out and write it out. And, we've got lots of people that we love to help. You're one of them. They get this book written. Then what? What do they do to make sure that people find it?
Connecting the book with the reader is the $60 million question, right? How do you connect the reader to the book, and most importantly, the author? And it starts actually with that blank page, with the questions that you're going to ask yourself when you're putting pen to paper. The first one would be something like, where does the book fit into my business? And what is the purpose of the book in my business? What do I want the reader to do as a result of reading my book? With Taking the Stairs, you want people to work harder, right? With You Must Write a Book, which is my book, I want everyone to write a book. I want the right person to call me and say, I want you to help me with this process. That's figuring out where the book fits into the business and where the book fits in with the author. And then everything else that you do actually is informed and influenced by the answers to those questions. How do people connect with you? And how do they connect with you in their journey of reading the book? Do they like you more as the book goes on? And are you adding value to them? Are you helping them to solve a problem or capitalize on an opportunity, or both? And then how do they come to understand if they're the person that you could help beyond the book? And all of that
so
is
it's like
baked into the marketing.
Strategically, even thinking beyond the book to going, let's say I write an amazing book, I market it, I get someone to buy it, they actually read it, they get to the end, then what? So it's kind of like thinking about, how does this direct and fit into your overall kind of business plan, and like not just your business plan, but how can you service that person at a deeper level once they've been through the book, and how are you pointing them in that direction?
Right. So the trick is, and there's no trick, but the trick is, right, the question that you want to answer is, how do I serve the person so they feel like in exchange for their time and money, right, the time they're reading the book and the money they've spent on the book, that they are getting value, that the question of the book has been answered. Because you buy a nonfiction book. I read Limitless by Jim Quick because I want to be limitless. So Jim had a big hill to climb with me, right? There were a lot of questions about how to be limitless, and those questions were answered in the book. But at the end of the book, there were a lot of other ways for me to take my limitlessness to be even more unlimited, right? There were ways that I could connect with him, and those had to be built into the book too. So there were resources in the book and options for connecting with the author before someone puts pen to paper, or even while they are thinking about what those things would be. How am I going to connect with my reader? How can my reader connect with me after they've finished the meat of the book? What's the next thing for them to do? What's the next stage in our relationship? And what does that look like? And how do we connect those dots? I think we live in a great time when it used to be that an author was a person that you didn't know where they were. You would never hear them interviewed or talked to unless it was on the McNeil Lehrer report or something, right? And now, or Charles Cronkite, right? Authors were unicorns that were inaccessible, and now authors are accessible people and have to think of themselves as accessible. And readers love to know their authors that you like. We want to know who you are, and we want to connect with you, right, as readers. And so thinking about that as an author, as an aspiring author, is how can I make sure that my readers know that I'm not inaccessible, I'm not a unicorn, and I want to be connected with, and here is who the person is that I want to connect with the most.
So let's talk about Amazon specifically for a minute, because I know most of your experience is like really kind of dominating the self-published world and helping people promote. What do people need to know about Amazon that they like? What do authors need to know about Amazon that we don't know? Like what as a first-time author is not obvious to us about Amazon that it's like, whoa, you really need to know this. Like in order, since Amazon represents, I don't know what it is, something like 50-60% of all sales. I mean, maybe even more than that. Whatever the number is, it's a massive percentage. What are the things you think most authors go, oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't know that. I didn't know I needed to do that. I didn't know I needed to update that. I didn't know I had to like do this or that for Amazon specifically.
Sure. Well, it not findable information, not information that you can't find if you're looking for it, but understanding how to engage Amazon as a retail partner when launching your book and marketing your book is very important. And understanding that if you know how to engage Amazon as a retailer, as a retail partner, they will serve up your book forever. If you can prove to Amazon that your book is profitable, Amazon wants to sell profitable things. If you've ever opened your email, or like maybe 12 times today, you've opened your email and there's something from Amazon that says, well, are you done reading this book? Because when you're done reading this book, you should read this book over here. Oh, did you buy this thing? Well, people who bought this also bought that, right? There is a way to engage Amazon as a retail partner so that you can have them serve up your book, and it's not with ads, it's free. It's knowing the process, right, of engaging Amazon in such a way that they say, well, Take the Stairs is a profitable book, and so we're just going to keep selling Take the Stairs. We're just going to keep recommending Take the Stairs. Honorée read the book, and Honorée is like these 1 million other people. And so we're going to send this email to these 1 million other people that are just like Honorée, because they've read all the same books that Honorée has, but not Take the Stairs. So they're going to email those people on your behalf for free.
And you're saying you can do something proactively as an author. What's an example, or like what are some of those things that we go, oh, I didn't even realize I was supposed to do that, or I could do that. Amazon seems like this ginormous, like faceless enterprise. Like that, I think is something I don't even think, like, I don't even feel that way, that it's like, oh, I should be doing these steps.
Yes. So there is 3 things. One is having an advanced reader team that consists only of your ideal reader. So assembling an advanced reader team of the right size and of the right consistency, right? Having the right people that are the ideal reader for your book, as opposed to, I'll give you the thing not to do too, which is don't launch your book to everybody for 99 cents, because that will kill your book. So specifically launching your book to the exact type of person who would read your book. So not telling everyone about your book, telling a specific group of people about your book and engaging them in such a way that it tells Amazon, ooh, people are going to like this book. And these are the type of people that are going to like this book. And then the 2 other things are choosing. Okay,
hold on. So I want to get the other 2, but before we do this, so when you go like find the ideal, right? I mean, that's really powerful. Is to, number 1, don't try to just go, I want to sell 1 million copies at 99 cents and just like, set the market like this is what my book is worth 99 cents. Yeah. You do get, some people do that for the bestseller thing, and there's some value, I guess, to some of that. But the how do you find these people? Is that just like go look on other books in your category and see who's reviewing those and try to reach out to those people?
That is a strategy, but that's pain and suffering, and I try to avoid pain and suffering. So there's I'm anti-pain and suffering in every situation. Your ideal client, your past clients, people who read books like those books. I bet you could tell me 5 books that are like Take the Stairs. I can tell you 5 books that are like The Miracle Morning for Entrepreneurs with Cameron Herold, right? So we went and looked for who are the other books that are like this book, who's read those books, and those are the people that I want. The people who are the ideal reader for the book are who I want to talk to about the book.
Which, if you have an email list and like you do a lot of the things that we teach at Brand Builders Group, what we call the relationship engine and all this stuff, So you're basically saying it is those people. I mean,
it's those people. Yeah.
It is those people.
Yes.
Okay.
They're not hidden.
Yeah. And then
They're
it's
in
other
plain sight.
podcasts like yours and other authors like yours and other
Yeah.
social media people like, posting similar content and that stuff.
Yes. If you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one. You know this better than anyone, right? Identify who your avatar is, your ideal reader, your ideal client. They're all the same thing. And put a group of those people together to be your advanced reader team and curate them and help them to help you engage Amazon and other retailers as your partner in your book marketing.
And when you say their advanced reader team, you're saying give them a copy of the book before it comes out. Why? Is that so that they can leave reviews early on as soon as the book comes out?
Yeah. So I have a process that I have authors walk through. It's like, this is the day that you do this, and this is the day you do this, and this is the day you do that, so that you're engaging the algorithm of the engine, right, of the retail engine in advance, so that they know who to market it to as well. So it's a little ninja, behind the curtain, under wraps, keep it quiet, don't talk to anybody about it. I say that a lot. Zipit.com.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone.
Zipit.com.
Use Zipit.com. So you're engaging the exact right and perfect reader. I know this from experience, and I have to say it a lot. You got to keep it quiet, even though this is probably one of the top 5 things you're the most excited about, right? You have a new kid, your book, and you want to tell everybody about your new kid, but you just can't for a little while. You've got to keep it under wraps and only talk to people about the book who are your avatar, your ideal reader, your ideal client.
And if you get those people to go leave reviews and they're a verified
purchase,
those really help. So okay, so that's awesome. So I don't need 1 million people to read it. I need to find like a core group of 100 or 50 or whatever, and just get them to actually read it, foster that audience, get them to support it, to leave, share it with whatever. Start small. Yeah. All right. You said there were 3 things. We're running out of time, but
the other two are quick. The keywords. What are the keywords that people search to find your book? Identify your keywords, and it's not a word. So brand builders would be a keyword. So if someone were saying, how do I build my brand? What's the best way to build my brand? Each of those is a keyword. So you identify the keywords that people would use to find a book like yours, and those become your keywords.
You're talking about, this is similar to search engine optimization for like Google, but you're talking specifically in Amazon.
Correct.
You need to select your keywords. But then, but like for SEO, I can, where do you put them on Amazon? What is that?
In the back end, in when you're publishing your book, or when I'm publishing your book, I identify the keywords and I put them I do that publishing piece. But there is the dashboard, right, where you would go to upload the book cover and the book files. They ask you, what are your keywords? And you put in the keywords, and then the keywords match.
Yeah. And what's wild about that is, when you traditionally publish, you have less control over things like that. I mean,
no, stop it.
Yeah, you do. As you know, it's there's so many great things about traditionally publishing and self-publishing. It's like one of these balances, but procrastinate on purpose missed the Wall Street Journal bestseller list, not because we didn't sell enough units, because the book wasn't categorized in the proper category that BookScan and Nielsen and that the Wall Street Journal picks up. And it was like, what? Like, who was supposed to tell us that? Like,
who's going to lose their job today? Yeah. So that's actually the third thing are the categories. Your book has to be in the right
that's
category.
The third one. Look at us.
That is the third one. Look at you being all star student and everything. Yeah.
Okay.
So category is the next one. So advanced reader team, preloading the algorithms, getting, the team and teaching the team and teaching the author, right? Got to do everything in, at the right time, right? You got to marinate the meat before you put it on the grill, right? Right thing at the right time. Then you have to understand what are the keywords and what are the categories and how to change them, how to see if they're working, and how to make sure that you're making the moves and how to make the moves at the right time. So like I said, it's a little bit art, a little bit science.
Where does is the categories a back end dashboard I mean,
Yep.
I
Yes.
know it's like monitoring
And more.
categories is one thing, and there's different
Yep.
ways to do that and different
Yep.
tools. And hopefully your publisher kind of knows some of that, helps you figure that out, or but like once you're saying that it's actually like monitoring it and then going, let's change the category of this book to put it somewhere else. You can just log in and do that.
You can actually send an email to Amazon and ask them to put you in certain categories. Otherwise, they're just going to put you in categories. If you've ever looked at a book and it's like, this is a book on dog walking and it's in the kitten leg warmer category.
Yeah,
it's
that
just
happens.
Because it happens all the time. It's just because somewhere in the computer, somewhere in there, something got off and it went in the wrong category.
So basically you just need to notify Amazon, say, hey, can you move this?
Yes.
You list my book in this other category? If you're self-published, if you're traditionally published, your publisher has to do that.
Yeah, one would hope. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then keywords is the same thing. Basically, like there's a back end part of Amazon where you basically similar to how you would do with like meta tags and like H1, H2 tags on a website. Yep. There's somewhere in Amazon in the back end where is it called a dashboard? Is that what it's called? I call
it the dashboard. Yeah. You're just logging in. So it's Kindle Digital Publishing, kdp.amazon.com is the login. Is where you create your account. And so you create an account and you upload all the files and the information. It's where you put in the title and the subtitle. And the book description. And you're right, you have to have HTML and a call to action and making sure that the font size is right and the spacing is right. Otherwise it just looks a little jabberwonky on the retail page. And all of those things factor into whether your book appears professionally published or not.
I know. I mean, again, with Procrastinating on Purpose, for some way, our original book cover got uploaded and it had this like weird glitchy thing on the cover. And there was like a weird splotchy looking thing. And it was like, how does this how does that happen? And it's just like somebody uploads a file that's wonky or something, and then
wonky or corrupt or something. And then you have to change it and you have to get to the right person to make the change and all the things. My checklist has 487 things on it.
Yeah. Well, 487 steps to success. But there's small specific things like this that really, really make a difference. That's wild. I didn't even know that about, I mean, I guess it made sense, but as a traditionally published author, I don't actually have control of my keywords and categories. I have to go through the publisher because it's all in there. They control the dashboard for it.
Right.
I presume, although I'm going to ask, I'm going to have this
they have access to the same. Theirs might be a little more robust than what they let the common folk have. The traditional publishers probably have something that's a little more robust, but they definitely have keywords and categories.
For sure. But the thing is, I'm depending on someone else to do the work of updating it versus I can't just log in and do it myself, which is one nice thing about self-publishing is you can like log in and update the thing. So that's part of the partnership of publishing. Yeah. Really interesting. So, all right. Well, Honorée, so I got one more question for you before I ask you that. Where should people go if they want to connect with you? I mean, you've worked with Hal Elrod, John Rowland, Cameron Herold. Those three people specifically are close personal friends of mine. I know you've done a ton with Hal, and if someone wants help, like actually writing a book and I mean, I know you teach people to do it, but you also will do it with them.
Correct.
Where should they go find you and say, hey, I found you on Brand Builders podcast, or like, where do you want them to go?
Just go to my website, honoreecorder.com, and send me an email. Send me honoree@honoreecorder.com, or go to my website and do a form and send it over. I get those. And Megan is my assistant, and she will get you on my calendar to discuss if this would be a good fit.
I love it. I love it.
And when you get your rights back on your books, call me.
Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Oh, well, we should talk. We should talk offline about some things.
All right.
But okay, so honoreecorder.com, we'll put a link to there, honoreecorder.com if you just want to email her. And then, so the last little thing that I have for you here is, coming back to this mental side of things, the fear that it won't be good, the self-doubt that I'm not smart enough, the imposter syndrome that someone else has already done it. I guess, is there any last thought you would have as it relates to this emotional block? Because over time, I've become more convinced that the barrier between a mission-driven messenger, which is, we call our audience mission-driven messengers, the primary barrier between a mission-driven messenger and actual published book in their hand is a whole set of emotional challenges that are much greater than the logistical challenges. So is there anything you would say to that person who knows they should write a book, but they're struggling to get their own, past some of their own beliefs?
Probably 100 things. So I'll try to come up with a few that are impactful for right now. The first one is, you have done something difficult in the past that you were unsure you could succeed. So go back to those wins that you've had in the past and revisit them. Go to the people who know you the best, your encouragers, your coach, your mom, your therapist, your best friend, and ask them what they think. And when they encourage you, listen to them. They are right. Right? They know. They have a line of sight to something that you cannot see. And also, you do not publish a book by yourself. I mean, unless you're crazy. Right? And I must be crazy because I've done it myself a number of times. But for yourself and by yourself are different. And I've not ever published a book where I didn't use a graphic designer to give me a good cover and an editor, or more than one editor, to go through and make sure that my message was strong, right? So you're going to need a proofreader, and you're going to need a copywriter, and you're going to need this advanced reader team of people who are going to read your book and tell you that what you have done is a beautiful thing. And writing a book really is a team sport. And so engage the right team of people, make sure that you do use an editor, make sure you do use a graphic designer who does understand book covers and that sort of thing. And once you have your team around you, you will feel less fear and less reticence that you might be running a marathon for the first time, but you got a coach, right? How many miles do I run today? Do I do strength training? Do I do yoga? Like, what are the other things I need to do? Listen to the other people that you have around you. And then also find some other people that have written books and have gone through the process who can give you some words of wisdom and say, oh yeah, I felt fear too. And I'm going to add one more thing. And that's what you touched on it before when you said I was a 20-something kid and I wrote Take the Stairs. When I wrote my first book, it was kind of like, okay, I'm going to write my first book. I didn't have that monkey mind either. I didn't have those self-doubts. Because I honestly didn't think anybody was ever going to read it. So who cares? Right? So if you put the pressure on yourself of like, I have to write a book and it has to be a New York Times bestselling book and, right? If you make it really hard to feel good about the success of your book and really easy to feel like a failure, you're already starting behind the 8 ball. So just give yourself easy wins. I'm going to sit down and come up with an idea for a book. Okay, I have an idea. Wonder if I could flesh it out with an outline. Let me come up with an outline. Okay, that's a win. Like, make it easy for yourself to feel good and make it really hard for yourself to feel bad, not just in book writing, but in life. But in this instance, let's focus on the book writing. Set the fear aside and recognize that you're not doing it alone. And there are a lot of books out there. There are a lot of inferior books, and there are a lot of superior books, and it's okay. This is your book. And you get one spin around the rock, right? You better leave something for people to remember you by?
There it is. Some ninja secret undercover, whatever you said, confidential tips, just between me and you and a few tens of thousands of listeners.
That's right.
On,
That's right. And everyone listening all over the world. Excellent.
The podcast, but it's all about who's going to take action on it. I mean, that's it. So, Honorée, so good to reconnect with you, my friend, and thanks for sharing some of your wisdom. We wish you the best. I know we'll be staying in touch, especially now you are a Nashville neighbor. So, all the best to you.
All right. Thank you so much.